Hi everybody, this is my first video, so I'm going to explain to you everything that I did to achieve a Disney inspired glitter tumbler. And I am using a couple variations of pink glitter, which was requested. I also want to show you in different lighting how these colors really look. Sometimes in the view of a camera they look a little bit different. They're kind of a dark pink, light pink, almost got a purple tint there in the darker pink, which is why I ended up choosing a dark purple for the decal, which you'll see at the end of the video. In addition, I did pick out some larger glitter specks to see if maybe that would go on the cup. In the end, I did decide not to, but they come on a list of 4 or 5 there, different colors. They're grouped together. I got them at the Dollar Tree, and that was very cost effective and it worked out very well. You don't need a whole lot of glitter, especially where I was using only half the cup. Now I use the hairspray glitter method, and I find that that works better than Mod Podge or any other spray adhesive that I have tried. I especially like the hairspray because I can coat it and get the glitter on there, and then I put another coat of hairspray on after, which to me makes it seem like it stays a little bit better. It's almost like a protective shield to go over the top before I am able to lay the first layer of epoxy. I always just want to mention that be careful with your glitter. It's messy. I get it everywhere constantly. So I put it in these little cups, and that's what I use. Helps me sprinkle it on, and then I just fold up my paper there and put it back in the little container and use it for another project at a different time. Alright, so I'm only using half of the cup. I'm not using the top half. It's just going to be mostly glitter on the bottom, working my way up. So here's the hairspray again, and for this video I was trying to make sure I showed everybody and wasn't thinking, and I sprayed directly over my wax paper, which causes the glitter to stick. So yes, you do want the wax paper there, but it's better to spray off camera. That way the glitter doesn't stick to the paper and it goes back into the container easier. You'll see that in just a moment. At this point, I'm not really concerned about how the lines look. Doesn't need to be a straight line. You're kind of wanting it to be uneven, although not jagged. Right now, though, it doesn't really matter because I'm not just going with this one color. I will be adding another color, and I will smooth it out later on. I tap the edge of the tumbler to make sure I get any excess glitter off that did not stick with the hairspray. That way, the next time I go do a layer, it's not chunky. So when I lay down my wax paper, I fold it in half both ways, just so when I am ready to go and put the glitter back, it already has a pre-folded crease, so the glitter falls right in that and usually comes right out. Now, as I said, I did spray the hairspray right over the wax paper, so some did stay on the paper as residue. If I had sprayed off of the camera frame, that wouldn't have happened. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really minor. It's not a whole lot of glitter, so it didn't really matter. The manner in which I am spraying here is I'm doing like short bursts, short little spritz. I don't want to put too much and have it run, but I do want to be able to make sure that I coat the most area that I can. Again, tapping to get off any excess. And yes, I tapped rather vigorously just to make sure that I did get anything that wasn't stuck down. I want to make sure that I don't have any loose lying glitter because that will stick up and become an issue for me. If I lay a layer of epoxy on that, then I might have to sand it. So yes, again, I'm going to fold this up. I'm going to put it right back in the container, and there might be a little bit of darker pink glitter mixture in there, and that's fine. This is the, you know, I like to make new colors maybe with, what I don't use from this project here. So I actually have a cup that I did in a brown color that I made by mixing some colors that I actually found that I liked a lot, and it worked out very well. So I'm not opposed to mixing leftovers and making something new with them. Okay, so now here you see like these lines are pretty jagged. They don't look quite as if they were done on purpose, and they're pretty, yeah, they're kind of so-so. They're not really uniform. They're at varying levels. And so what I'll end up doing is putting another layer on, and I'm going to also go around the bottom here, and you see those white spots. That's where the glitter really didn't stick that well, which is to be expected, especially if you're putting it down on a flat surface on the bottom of the cup. So I'm also going to make sure that I coat that another layer on there as well. The middle is fairly well covered, and I do like the color of it, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. All around the bottom here, I'm going to put my spray directed that region. Go again with the lighter pink, just preference, I guess. No real rhyme or reason. I'm not trying to cover the darker pink. I'm just trying to make sure that the lighter pink does show up. So when I do put the epoxy on and do the final coats, that you do see that there are variations in the coloring. Also, I will be glittering the bottom of the cup. Some people do this, some people don't. It's personal preference. I feel it makes it more complete. So I'm just kind of picking up what I have already on the paper with that hairspray that was on the bottom. I will eventually cover the entire thing and make sure that I get the entire bottom filled as well. I do like the finished look when it's all put together and fully covered. Okay, so now I'm going to do some more up at the top of that glitter rim. I want to make it a little bit more even, a little bit more uniform, not a straight line, because then it would be not the way I want it. I want it to kind of be organic and more of a natural line versus a straight line that I could have done with tape. So instead of doing it up and down like that, that's going to create more of those peaks, I turn the cup and I will do kind of a round, and it's going to just soften those hard edges and make it more of a uniform line, although not being a perfect line. Now I ran out of that lighter pink, which is fine because I wanted to use more of the dark pink anyway. It's supposed to have more colors, not just the lighter pink. I wanted it to have both. But to have the lighter pink really show, I started with the dark and then went to the light, and now I'm going to fill in with the dark as well. And that's just going to give it an overall appearance of different shades of pink. Again, tapping vigorously. I want to make sure that I get any extra off. Now that the light pink and the dark pink are mixed, it doesn't really matter, so I'm just going to go ahead and mix them both in there. I'm just going to make sure that with the two colors in there, I'm just going to layer them and swirl them around, give them a nice mixture. And now I'm going to work on spraying the bottom and getting that coated along with the finished sides. Filling in wherever I need to. You'll see me pick up some and just sprinkle it on any spots that I felt were too thin. And by doing this, I'm also moving around that color mixture, so I'm also making that blend better. And I could have worn gloves, but I just got glitter everywhere. It's kind of, oh well, hazards of the job, I guess. Okay, so again, I didn't get the full bottom at this point, so I'm still kind of just working on that, kind of gathering everything into the center, so when I spray the bottom, I'm getting everything. You see the short bursts there that's what I did to the rest of the cup as well. It's just those short little bursts of hairspray to really apply the most adhesive backing to the cup I could. So some of the way the cup is shaped, some of the glitter still was not reaching in those spots. So I'm just picking it up here and putting it into the bottom of the cup, tapping it down so it, connects with the hairspray to fully coat that portion of the cup. Okay, so there's a pretty good view of the cup and how it only does about halfway up. And here I am just tapping again. You really want to make sure you're getting any loose glitter off. And I'm just looking really close here to see if there's any white spots, any spots that I've missed, anything I want to go over again. So here you can see some of the color variation where I can definitely see the light and the dark pink. And you can see some of the overspray, the sprinkle up closer to the top of the cup. Although unintentional at that moment, that is definitely what I wanted to eventually be doing. And it just happened to work out that that's how it happened. I didn't have to go and sporadically sprinkle any extra. But that'll just tie in the whole design of the cup, which is what I wanted to do eventually. So now that I've already mixed those colors, I just go back in one container there, and that's fine. And the other one I just save for a different project or a different color glitter later on. So now it's like a new pink color. So again, with the hairspray, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray a couple coats and let it sit for an hour. And that's just going to fully coat everything so that it has time to dry. And hopefully that extra coat on the outside will help things lay down as well. So when I put the layer of epoxy on it, I'm not going to have to sand down portions of glitter that stuck up. So again, I leave that for about an hour and then let it dry, and then I'll come back to it. I'm very impatient. I don't like to wait. Okay, so now that this is all on here, and it's been sitting for about an hour, I'm just going to give you a view of how the cup looks. You can see the variations in the color. The edges sometimes need a little bit more glitter, especially where the cup sits. You want to make sure that you coat that area very well. I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing, but there's a couple of spots that are just not quite filled in as I would like them to be. So I'm just going to grab my glitter again. And I'm just going to use the same hairspray method and fill in the spots that I feel need another layer or aren't quite filled enough. And at this point I'm doing very localized spraying of the hairspray because I have specific areas in mind that I want the glitter to be going on versus all around. At this point I'm working to make sure that I'm not going above the line that I've kind of created with the way that I'm shaking this glitter out. I don't want to go above the line because that'll mess up my fade from the glitter into the cup. So I just want to be mindful that I'm not going all kind of hog wild with that glitter. Once again, you want to tap off your extra. Really want to make sure that nothing else is sticking on there that shouldn't be, and you don't want clumps. And I'm kind of picky, so I will go around and go around until I feel that it has accurately been glittered, and make sure that I feel that I'm putting out a good product. So if it's not perfect, I have a hard time leaving it alone. So what you're seeing there is I did find a few clumps on the edge, so I just kind of patted them down, and when they came off in a flake, I just removed it, put some more hairspray on, and fixed the glitter in that spot, and you cannot tell the difference. So it all worked out very well, and as I said, I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I really want to make sure that what I'm putting out I feel very confident in, and that I am providing, you know, the customer a cup that I would be happy to have. Um, so I want them to be happy to have it as well. Okay, so cleaning off my space a little bit, and just going to give you a view of the cup. I'm going to let it sit for like 2 hours and do a couple coats of hairspray on it, um, going all the way around, making sure that I get the entire glittered portion of the cup, let everything sit, and fully cure, fully dry, I guess, before I put any epoxy on it. And that to me has been the best method. It's my most used method, so that's what I enjoy to do. Okay, so I did not like the larger specks of the glitter, but I did find some purpley pink glitter that was larger flakes than the fine glitter that I used. So you can see that there is kind of a color difference there. It looks more purple right there, but it is kind of pinkish purple. So I'm going to just sprinkle on a little bit of that and give it a little bit more dimension on the cup. Going with my same hairspray. I get this hairspray right at the Dollar Tree. It's not anything that I use for my hair. I solely use hairspray for my crafts and my cups. So for me, quality really wasn't a question. So I'm just going to sprinkle a few here and there all around the cup. I don't want to concentrate it anywhere. I want it to look organic in how it's put on there, sporadic, and not placed in any one spot on purpose. I just think that added a little bit more dimension to the cup and color. So to me, I felt that that would work really well for this cup. It wasn't necessary, but I just liked it. So you can kind of see the specks there. It's kind of hard to see with glitter, especially glitter that's colored basically the same. So again, I'm just going to coat again with hairspray and let it dry, and that will help it to sit down, especially where those flakes were bigger. It's best to really stick them on there so when you do your epoxy, they're not, one, floating, and two, sticking up, so you end up having to sand down a layer and put another layer of epoxy on it. Okay, so at this time I have put the layer of epoxy on. I've had the cup sitting initially for 6 hours, and then I printed out my decals. This cup is for Kayla, and she wanted it Disney themed with like the Disney castle and the Disney style of writing with the quote that you're never too old for Disney. So all colors and details were provided from her that she wanted. So that's what I have made. Every step of the way I've kind of kept her in the loop of what I've been doing and allowed her to see my progress. And she has liked the cup so far. So this is after my first layer of epoxy, and it was I'd say like 95% smooth. There's a few spots that are a little sticking up, I guess you could say. They puckered in the epoxy a little bit, that if you run your hand along the cup, you're going to feel the ridges. But that being said, the top part was the white part of the cup, so that was just paint and epoxy over it with a few specks of glitter here and there. So that wasn't hindered by putting any vinyl decaling on. So I chose the flattest spot for the castle that I felt would lay correctly, and it looks kind of blue here, but it is a dark purple. And so I just laid everything out on there, and I'm going to do another coat of epoxy, and then it will be ready to go out to Kayla. Thank you for watching.